empowering you to live a life fully charged. This is 7,000 Volts, Living an Electrified Life with L.J. Tucker.
Welcome back to another episode of 7,000 Volts, Living that Electrified Life. In the electrified life we are living. Today, we're going to dive into a familiar subject with a familiar doctor. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
Dr. Ufondu.
Great to be back.
And it's good having you. We have some good feedback. You're looking good on camera. You have very good value that you add to the show and to the people of the information that they receive from you.
Good to know. Thank you.
Yes, and so and that's what it's about, being able to connect. It's staying in our lane, understanding that people need something different outside of the noise, because you used to hear the older people, your parents and grandparents, like especially in church growing up, it's like we're living in the last days, or in a time like this. This is the one of the worst times. I don't buy into all of that. What I do have, God has allowed me to become wise and believe and understand that every time is time. You have to find a way to stay out of the noise, because when you're inside of the noise, it affects every other part of your life.
Sure. Because
you're not the creator God has created you to be, and then it's almost like like you locked in like a missile on something that's not irrelevant.
Sure.
It's whether it's politics, religion, or stuff that just doesn't matter, and it's not going to add any type of value to your life.
Sure.
And it affects your life in ways that you can't even see.
Sure.
And for fertility, this is one of your specialties. It affects people in ways that they have no clue.
Oh yeah.
Whether they're trying to become pregnant,
oh, yeah.
or they want to live a life that maybe they don't want to be rich, maybe they don't want to be on the front lines, but it affects them because they can't do the simple things in life they want to do if you live inside of the noise.
Correct.
So we're going to let you dive in and talk more about, and by the way, he wrote this podcast that we're doing today because he had things on his mind that he wanted to share. So we're going to let you dive right into it.
Okay, thank you so much. So today we're going to look at the role of faith,
Yes,
hope, among couples that are having delays, having babies. If you noticed, when we were growing up, when we were younger, we didn't really have a lot of people that were struggling to have babies.
Yes.
But lately, you've noticed that so many young people are actually struggling to become pregnant and have their kids, which is a blessing that God gave us freely. If you reference your Bible, God said He's gonna make us fathers and mothers. He's gonna, make us to populate the world, and He's gonna make provisions for us. But for some reasons, we've noticed an increase in the number of couples in all age brackets having challenges, having babies. Now, the simple definition of infertility, which is the difficulty of succeeding in having babies within a period of 12 months for a lady that is 35 years and below, and 6 months if the lady is 35 years and above. So that difficulty, that inability for the lady to become pregnant, despite the fact the lady and the male partner are observing all the protocols, which is regular lovemaking, and at the end of that 12 months, she's not able to be confirmed pregnant. That particular situation, that particular setup is called infertility. Now, the good news is with knowledge, which is power, knowledge is power, we can actually overcome majority of all those factors that lead to infertility. So what I'm here to do today is to kind of bridge the gap between the two divides, because when we talk about faith, most people think that faith is against science. But faith is just a partner of science, and in the middle you've got hope. So if couples are having problems starting their families, becoming pregnant, or they were having miscarriages for whatever reasons, because the way God structured women like a flower. If you notice, when you wake up in the morning, if you have a flower, it blossoms. It's so beautiful. Now, as you're getting towards the afternoon, if you pay attention to that same flower, the color will begin to dim. Why? Because the light is out. Then towards evening, the flower will definitely wither. That's the way God structured women. So there are certain things that women are supposed to achieve within a certain age. So God made it in such a way that when women are in their 20s, that's when they have a better opportunity, better chance, higher probability of becoming pregnant and having kids. Then once they begin to get to age 30, mid 30s, the number of the eggs and the quality of the eggs that God gave them that they should use to bring their family into the world will start decreasing. So fertility begins to decline at the age of 35 up. So that's the science. But there are some people that are on the two extremes. Some people don't believe in what I just explained, which is pure science and biology. Some people just stick to the faith part. Some people just stick to things they can't really intersect. So there's a role of science and there's a role of faith and hope. They are all partners. You can't work without the two of them. For you to become a parent, for you to become pregnant, you have to believe. You have to have that faith. And what's faith? Faith is the evidence of things you haven't seen. And actually the substance of things you're looking for, things you're hoping for. So you want to have babies, you want to have baby boys, you want to have baby girls, you want to have 5 kids, but you haven't even seen the lady you want to start your family with. That's called faith.
Yes.
So how do you translate that faith into reality? You see the lady you want to marry, you propose the lady, and you guys live together, and you actually do the part of starting your family, which is the work. And even the Bible says that faith without work is just a nullity. So science, hope, and faith are all partners, more like Trinity. So I just want to tell our audience that you will not get the result you're looking for if all you do is pray without practicing, without playing. So in my community, we have 3 P's we hone in on. We pray every second, then we play. Play in my community simply means if you want to have babies, you have to regularly engage in sexual intercourse with your partner. Then practice means putting your body, putting your mind, putting your spirit in the right frame of mind so that the babies you want to have will dwell in your body. You have to put your body in the right frame of mind physically, from the science perspective, from the medical perspective, from the medications perspective. There's a reason why you need to see the doctors when you're pregnant. There's a reason why we give you an appointment to come for antenatal care, to keep an eye on you and your baby. There's a reason why you need a particular medication. So if you get sick, or if you become pregnant and we give you appointments, and you don't show up for the appointment because you believe you've got faith and you're a Christian or your spirituality scale is very high, you're going to have problems in that pregnancy because you are not keeping to the science aspect of bringing the baby into the world. So they are not enemies. Faith is not the enemy of science. Faith is not the enemy of medicine. Faith is not the enemy of hope. They all work together to bring forth what we are believing God for. Now, to the couples that are having challenges becoming pregnant, or they've been having challenges with miscarriages or stillbirth, so many people had those challenges, but they overcame the challenges. Remember that you're in the world, and so long as you're in the world, you're going to meet challenges. So God didn't tell us we're not going to meet challenges, but God said, when you meet those challenges, I'll be there. I will overcome those challenges with you. So those people that are having delays, becoming pregnant, going through infertility, what they need is to activate their faith. When you activate your faith, you activate your hope, then you walk through the pathway of science. Because once we are able to figure out what the problem is, which might be causing the delays, there are so many factors. It might be the age of the lady, it might be hormonal imbalance, it might be the man. So delays in having babies and starting your family can come from any of the parties. And that's where the misconception comes in, because there are some couples that blame the woman. They think that the reason why they're not having babies is the woman, but that's not true. It's 50-50. The problem can come from the man, the problem can come from the woman. So when you have that knowledge, and when you seek that knowledge, and when you get connected to a fertility specialist, when you get connected to a doctor that will explain things, make it easier for you to understand, which is my area of jurisdiction. I'm a maternal and child health specialist. So this is an area I've really, really paid time to go through, and I understand one of few little quick fix you can put together and you can improve the chance of the couples becoming pregnant. There are some women that the reason why they might not be becoming pregnant might just be their body weight. They just need to work on their body weight. They just need to adjust their lifestyle. And the fertility that God gave them will kick in, because when God made women, God gave them that opportunity, that ability, that blessing, that natural gift of becoming mothers from birth. Because women come into this world with all the eggs they will use to start their family. So all girls are mothers until proven otherwise, unless they don't want to become mothers. So that's the starting point I want to communicate to our audience, to keep faith alive, activate your hope, but still remember the sciences. They are not enemies, they are all partners.
There's so much. This is good stuff. There's so much to unpack there. Like I'm sitting here thinking, like even with this phone on the table, you don't see phones like this anymore.
Correct.
They're normally in our pocket. It's, you know, I remember being in elementary school. My friend Eric, we exchanged numbers, and I remember going home, just sitting by the phone, just sitting on the corner, just waiting
for the call.
Waiting for the call. And so there's so much has happened in society since, like back in the day when people were having 17 kids. I remember our neighbors had 13 kids. I come from a family of 5. And it's just so much that's happened. This not only, I remember we didn't have a TV. When we did have a TV, it was black and white TV.
Correct.
And we had able. We didn't have cable. And we were only able to get like 3 or 4 channels. Yeah. And now you can watch TV on your phone, wherever you're at. You have the internet. Mm-hmm. So do you think the noise and all the distractions that we have play a role at all in fertility?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So it's the noise.
Oh yeah. So here's the deal. There are so many components that can predispose. So there are things we call risk factors, which you might not even know you're exposing yourself to those risk factors. So one of the key risk factors to infertility, both for the males and the females, it's what we call stress. You know, without stress, we can't live. So there are some acceptable stress. There are some acute stress. Remember when I told you about the lion, right?
Yes, the fight or flight.
Fear, fright, flight reaction, right? Mm-hmm. If we see a lion now, what do? We take off. Mm-hmm. That's acute. We are dealing with that acute stress. We're activating our adrenaline. We are kicking in all those things that will keep us alive. We're activating what we call the sympathetics to kick us in to look for safety. Now, when you expose yourself to the noise, to the distractions, to the electronics, to the lifestyle, over time, they will introduce preventable stress. When you don't eat right, when you don't watch your body weight, when you listen to the noise, when you listen to the distractions, if you notice, when you turn your phone, your news, there is no longer news because there are so many negativities out there. So when you feed on all those, when you keep companies of people that won't give you hope, people that will always feed on the negative, people that will always tell you you can't, over time, all those noise will build up. So instead of dealing with acute stress, those stress will now graduate to what we call chronic stress. So chronic stress is a continued exposure to stress that will be more than 6 months. So when you get exposed to the same thing that introduces stress, it's going to affect your body, it's going to affect your health, it's going to affect your sleep, it's going to affect your hormones. Because everything God wanted you to be, God already gave you. So when those things don't work the way God planned it to work, you're going to struggle. So chronic stress is a very big factor in infertility. So if a lady is exposed to chronic stress, her monthly cycle, her monthly bleeding, her monthly ovulation, which will lead to her releasing the egg that the sperm will fertilize, will not happen. And when a lady is not releasing the eggs, pregnancy can happen. Now, by extension, if you notice, most men are all over the place. So when they go through stress, what will most men do? They go drinking, they go smoking, they go doing some stuff that will actually make the stress worse. And when that happens, you will also notice they will struggle, because when you get exposed to stress, when your lifestyle is not healthy, when you're not eating healthy, when you're not sleeping properly, the level of your stress will go up and it will affect your hormones. Those are the hormones that would have helped you to produce the sperm which you will use to impregnate your woman. So stress is a very big factor. And like before we started this discussion, we talked about distractions, right? The average lifespan of the average person out there, it's not even up to 1 second. We get so distracted on things that don't matter, things that matter, we don't pay attention to that. And we always look for blame. So in most couples that probably have artificial infertility, it's not because they couldn't become pregnant naturally. It's because they have not paid attention to little modifications, to little adjustments, which will improve their chance. Because everybody in this world has that fertility ability to bring forth their own. It's a promise. Regardless of how you happen on this planet, God made it possible. Your mother brought you into this world. And with the advent of modern technologies, no matter the level of stress, no matter the level of infertility, no matter the level of delays you're going through, there are solutions. Let me give you one example. Up to 50 years now, there's this particular procedure we call IVF, in vitro fertilization. Now, way back in the 1978, somewhere in UK, they discovered that, a couple of couples are not really becoming pregnant the natural way. So researchers went into work and they were able to discover that they can actually go to the lady, give her some drugs, and collect her eggs from her ovaries. Then go to the man, collect the sperm, and outside the body of the woman, bring the egg, bring the sperm together, create what we call an embryo, then transfer it back into the woman. And still succeed in the same pregnancy. So that whole process is called ART, assisted reproductive technique. So why am I bringing this forth? As we are evolving in the world, God also gave us the opportunity to find different solutions for different problems. Just like you're talking about the phone. Nobody uses this now, right?
No.
But we remember when this type of phone is the status symbol. If you come to a home and you find a phone in the home, you feel, oh, these people are wealthy. Now nobody's even thinking about that. There was a time we felt that, oh, when are we ever going to get phone? So solutions are constantly evolving. But if you don't connect yourself to those solutions by getting the knowledge, like the knowledge I'm sharing today, if we have couples that are struggling to have their babies and they queue into this knowledge base and they seek higher knowledge while still keeping their faith, while still keeping their hope, they can tap into the science aspect of the reason why they don't have kids. And if they can combine the faith, the hope, and the science, come on now, there are so many people that never knew they will have an opportunity to have babies. Today they are looking for contraceptives. So if you are in this category, all you need to do is to open your mind. Remember when I was telling you that a closed mind cannot be helped?
No, it sure
You
can't.
have to have an open mind so we can pour things into your mind. So if you don't open up, then you won't even know what you've got. Some people are not even doing the simple basic things. Some people are doing it around the wrong way. Some people are believing in some myths which are not true.
Now, let me ask you.
Correct.
So, with how advanced we are, everybody used to fight, be in line, call waiting. Did somebody call? Don't make me miss my call. I've been waiting on this important call.
Correct.
Till everybody has a phone in the house now, and now they gather around to see what your conversation. Everybody's having their own conversations.
Correct.
When I was in college, I did a debate I did it for and against arranged marriages. Now everybody gets to choose. You got the internet. We get to choose. They get to sample the products and stuff, and it makes it harder to find a partner. And you're practicing well before the way God intended it to be through marriage. And so with all of the opportunities and choices through the internet, you can see, we can go on our phone right now and see somebody in Africa, South America, anybody, and try to connect with them.
Correct.
And so does that play a part in it?
Yeah, so well, like I said, if the world keeps evolving, we keep having choices and people keep having options, and the more you've got options, the more things are made easier, the more the foundation is eroded. Because before you get to the stage of knowing someone to actually start thinking of having kids, you would have known the person.
Yeah.
You would have had some level of relationship, dating, knowing the person. But with the advent of all these other easy way out, I call it easy life, that bulk of knowing, that bulk of experiencing, that bulk of knowing the good, the bad, and ugly. Because when people go out there, like in all those dating sites and all that, people always show you the best.
Yes.
People always project what's good about them. So if you don't have that experience to have experienced the person, the good, the bad, the good days, the bad days, the ugly days, how they react and all that, you might jump into that, hoping that it's your own, match or whatever. And before you blink, people also tap out. People jump in and jump out. That's what happens. But if you noticed, people that actually follow the tenets of relationship, of marriage, they might still be having the same challenge that those people that just tapped out had. But they remembered. They already have memory cells of how to overcome their challenges. But lately, with all these easy go here, match there, once they can't deal with situations, they're out. So yes, it contributes.
And so the thing that we debated about in the college, I want to set that up to say this. The debate was about arranged marriages versus being able to choose your partner. And there's a study, I haven't studied this in a while, but arranged marriages seem to last and work better than choosing your partner. I'm not suggesting that, because there's other countries that still do arranged marriages. And it's like the thought process, your parents got together, this who you're going to marry, that's the end of discussion. And, some people were in love because they knew who they were going to marry and they was okay with the idea. And other people wasn't so okay with the idea, but they still had to honor what their families want. And I remember I met a young lady in college that she was in arranged marriage. She's like, I hated him at first. I hated the idea, but I grew to love him. And she's like, it was one of the best things. And so what is your thoughts on that when, like, with the arranged marriage when it comes to that? Because it's been a proven success in other countries. Just America just wasn't having it.
Yeah. So here's the deal. Different stroke for different folks, right?
Yes.
And we have so many cultural practices, so many beliefs, so many things we were born into, and we felt that this is what we should do. But over time, this is 2026. The world is a global village now. If you go home now, David, Mike, they all have their opinion. They all have their choices.
Do they?
There are things you cannot tell them to do because they don't want to do that. There are choices you can make for them, including their friends. When they go out there and they meet people, they have their own criteria of who they call their friends. So tomorrow when they want to form their relationships, you can't come and impose a friendship on Olivia or Mike or Dave. You cannot. We can only encourage them to make sure that when that time comes, they apply the criteria we feel would be better for them. So in my opinion, growing up in the culture and in the people in that era, there are some people that those arranged marriages worked for. And remember then, most people marry, most people obey hook, line, and sinker what their parents told them. Most people go into relationships and marriages to make their fathers happy, to make their mothers happy, to continue the friendship. So most times when they see people and they impose people and they arrange people, it's to continue a friendship between two people. So your father or your mother might have friends and they feel, oh, this my daughter would be good for this son or for whatever reason, because there are so many reasons why they had arranged marriage way back. Economic reasons, relationship reasons. Some people that even old people got settled with marriages. So there are so many varieties of ways people practice marriages in the past. But I believe in choices.
Yes.
I believe in people that want to go into that marriage actually understanding what marriage is all about, actually understanding what relationship is all about, because you have to be mature, you have to be of age. You have to understand that everything you do when you get in might not really be what you felt you will see. Marriage is like a bundle. You open the bundle, whatever you see there you manage. So it requires a lot of maturity, it requires a lot of experience, it requires a lot of memory cells. So like the person that told you, oh, when I started with him I hated him and all that, at some point she made a choice. And most times when kids start coming in, there are so many things you will look at when your kids are already in the relationship and you let go. So that's my own thinking. So I still feel that people should be given that opportunity to make their choices. We as parents now, we all have kids. We want the best for them. When the opportunity comes, we sit them down. It's not a one-time talk. We continue talking to them because anytime they go out there in various levels of their schooling, they meet people. They form their relationships. There are some people they might meet, we might think, oh, what's the commonality between this person? We don't know. So we only look out for them and we only hope and pray to God that they will make good decisions. But this is the era where people do things and take the responsibility, because when they were doing all those arranged marriages, if he works, who takes the kudos? The people that arranged it. If he fails, the people that arrange it. So responsibility in relationship and marriages is very important. Yes. If you make your own choice and it turns out good, bad, ugly, you're gonna be the person to take the responsibility. If it's in the past, they will blame their parents will blame them. There are some parents that will blame their kids. I told you not to do this and you did it, this is why. Then when it turns out good, they will applaud you. So it's all blame, shame, stigma kind of triangle. So I believe that anybody that is ready to form relationship should, start from a friendship perspective, understand what relationship is all about, be matured enough, have emotional intelligence to know that, oh, things are going to happen. But when those things happen, this is how I'm going to apply solutions to them. That's what I believe.
And that's the importance of faith, because faith is, again, evidence of things of not seen. And I wouldn't be here. You probably wouldn't be here. Like, without faith, there's nothing, like, without it, like...
there is no foundation. Faith is the foundation.
Every
other thing is glass.
Yes. And that's what gets us to where we're trying to go, the visions that God gave us. Like, when God comes to us, and I do this because he comes to me all the time and he's talking, and I learned to pull out my notebook and I write it down, because you don't always remember it.
Oh, yeah.
You don't always remember it. So when he speaks to you, you have to have that faith to be like, you know what? God said it, I believe it, that settles it.
Oh, yeah.
And that's what gets us to where I want to, in my mind, younger coming up, seeing large families, like, man, me and these kids, my wife forgive me, I ended up with 5, but that's faith. And with 5, you like, yep, that's enough.
But guess what? Previously, in the past,
yes.
like where I'm from, they attach the number of kids you have to wealth. Siblings actually compete for the number of kids they will have. So that's how you will see a mother having 13 kids, 15 kids. But guess what? For every pregnancy a woman has, something leaves her body. Her health, her vitality, her strength. So it takes a lot for a woman to have a baby and recover and have another baby. So that lady that had those 13 kids needs to be applauded. Now, we are not in the era of competition. We are in the era of reality. So if you know, like, you've got 5 kids, you guys plan to have 5 kids, and you know that your economy, you know that you can comfortably take care of those 5 kids. The problem is, previously, people just have kids and they hope that, oh, I'm going to give this kid out, or someone is going to help me to train these kids. And that's what leads to having so many kids that are not taken care of. That's why you have so many kids that are abused, so many kids that are into so many things that are not supposed to be, because the control system is not there. The ability to take care of the kids that God gave you is not there. And you can see the economy, it's not friendly. So imagine having 10 kids and you can only provide for 1. And you begin to distribute the other 9 to other people to help you train your kids. The best people to train the kids are the parents.
Yes.
There is no other person that will love, care, train, raise your kid better than you. No matter what. The moment you begin to think, even your twin brother, your twin sister, or whoever, they cannot give your kid the love you will give them. It's only you and your wife or your partner that can give that kid that love back. That's what I believe.
Man, we can go on for another 30 minutes for this stuff. This is good stuff, man. It's faith and science working together.
Oh yeah, they're friends.
And once we can grasp that concept of faith and science, working together. We can exercise our faith
while at the same time obeying the sciences.
So you can move and live that life, live that electrified life, and most importantly, separate yourself from the noise so you can live an abundant life.
Correct.
And because people understand that faith and science, they work together.
Oh, yeah.
And it can help you. It affords you to a better life. It affords you to that pregnancy, that child that you want. Or maybe you don't want children. So we don't want to just put it in a box and say, hey, you need to have kids. Hey, if you choose to have kids, if it's in the cards for you to have kids and you're trying to have kids, faith and science, they work hand in hand to get you to that abundance in life. And to me, that's the most precious gift in the world. Is kids. That's
nothing compares.
Like it's
nothing.
If you're not a parent yet, or you're striving to be a parent, I'm telling you, it's the greatest
joy. It's indescribable. And here's the deal, in closing, there is absolutely nothing people experience today or experiencing today that was not experienced way back, even in the Bible.
Yes.
Remember how old Sarah was before Sarah had a baby?
Mm-hmm.
They had infertility. There were so many rugged men of God that had infertility in the Bible. But guess what? God spoke the word. Mm-hmm. God promised that. Even God pushed so many men in the Bible through the limits. Remember when God asked one strong man of God to kill the only son, Isaac? And, he was actually going to do that until God intervened. That's solid faith. Yeah. So regardless of what you're seeing now or experiencing, there are so many people that experience in the Bible days. But here's the difference. Most people only look at it from the spiritual aspect. So there are some people that are currently having infertility and they're in their 50s, and when you encourage them to go for alternatives like the ART I talked about, assisted reproductive technique, in vitro fertilization, the IVF, they will quote Sarah in the Bible. Oh, if God did it for Sarah, then God is going to do it for me. But are you doing the work? Have you connected to a fertility specialist? Are you open to the treatment we can give you that can help you? Or are you only dwelling on the faith and the hope without putting the work?
The works, yeah.
So most times we see the finished product, but there is something that happened in the middle that led to that finished product. When people read the Bible and read the story of Sarah, they just knew that, Sarah at the old age had a baby. What happened in between? How did Sarah open her mind up for God to actually do the miracle? Because there is only one immaculately conceived child, and that's Jesus. There is no other way to have a baby if you don't bring the sperm and the egg together. No other baby. The only baby in the history of the entire world that God spoke and he came into existence immaculately is Jesus. So if you don't do what you're supposed to do, unfortunately, you might end up being by yourself.
Straight from Dr. Ufondu. Thank you for your time. Thank you for coming back to
Thank
the
you
show.
so much. It's a
we
pleasure.
definitely got to have you back again. This is good stuff, and this adds value. You was talking about Sarah. Like, we can unpack. What made her leap into that phase? Was it jealousy because she told her husband to go sleep with the handmaid and have a baby, and then she saw the baby and she said, "Wait a minute now, God, you promised me."
God is a rewarder of faith. So long as you're faithful, God will always reward you, even when you doubt. So long as you've got that God heart and you're after God, even when you mess up, when God says he will bless you, he will bless you.
Yes.
When God told Abraham he's going to be the father of all nations, it came to pass.
Yes.
So you have to have that rugged faith, but you have to exercise your faith. Yes. You cannot isolate your faith without doing the works. Yeah.
Until next time, stay electrified. God bless.
This has been 7,000 Volts, Living an Electrified Life, available on YouTube and your favorite podcast app. If you enjoyed the show, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. For more information, visit us on the web at ljtucker.com. Remember, stay electrified.